India's ongoing legal battle over online real money gaming has taken up an unexpectedly serious and unprecedented turn in Supreme Court. After the central government submitted a fresh affidavit that has dramatically reshaped the entire narrative. For 2 days in a row, the matter appeared on the court's cause list but could not be heard due to its low serial number. Yet, even without a hearing, the government's latest submission has injected a new and explosive dimension into the case, one that goes far beyond taxation, licensing, addiction, or the question of whether such platforms involve skill or gambling. According to the government, the issue is no longer just social or economic. It now falls squarely within the realm of national security, organized crime, and illegal financial operations. The affidavit describes online real money gaming as a potential conduit for some of the most dangerous forms of unlawful activity affecting India's financial system, national stability, and internal security. The center has asserted that it possesses detailed data, investigative records, and intelligence reports showing how various gaming platforms have been used to channel hawala transactions, conduct illicit cross border transfers, move funds through unregulated crypto routes, and even facilitate networks linked to drug trafficking and possible terror financing. In fact, the government has gone a step further, saying it is willing to present these sensitive documents before the Supreme Court in a sealed envelope, a move reserved only for matters that involve highly classified or security related information. If the Supreme Court agrees to examine sealed cover material, the proceedings would radically change its course. The debate would no longer revolve around regulatory definitions or consumer protection. It would focus instead on determining whether an entire industry has inadvertently or deliberately become a breeding ground for high risk financial crime. Such a shift signals that the government considers this sector more than simply problematic. It views it as a high risk zone potentially capable of destabilizing economy and security frameworks. This is a significant departure from past discussions, which typically questioned whether online games were a matter of skill or gambling, whether youths were becoming addicted, and whether families were suffering financial damage. Now, the government's stand suggests that the stakes have risen far above these concerns. If the court finds merit in the affidavit, policy making around the entire online gaming ecosystem, its future operations, advertising models, investment inflows, and regulatory permissions could undergo a sweeping transformation. The hope of companies operating in this space for lenient rules or broader permissions may fade dramatically. And if the situation escalates further, the government could even seek judicial support for imposing far stricter restriction on the entire sector. Interestingly, despite its importance, the case was not taken up on both 26th and 27th of November. On the first day, it stood at serial number 122, and on the next day, it moved even lower to number 141. While the Supreme Court typically hears only 40 to 60 matters in a day. This procedural delay, however, should not be interpreted as a lack of interest or priority. It merely reflects the court's packed docket. But the seriousness of the affidavit now raises the possibility if the court acknowledges that the issues involved touch upon national security. What comes next will depend largely on how the Supreme Court views the government's claim and whether the judges deem it necessary to examine the sealed cover materials. If the court believes the allegations carry weight, the hearings are likely to become intense, detailed, and heavily data driven. This would place enormous pressure on the gaming industry, as the discourse would then be anchored not on business viability or taxation disputes, but on the far more consequential question of safeguarding national security and preventing illegal financial movements. In the days ahead, this case may well set a legal precedent for how India classifies and regulates online real money gaming, whether it continues to be treated as a business, redefined as a high risk financial activity, or elevated to the level of a national security concern. The decision could reshape the contours of digital entertainment, fintech oversight, and cyber economic policy for years to come. My own reading of the developments is that the government's affidavit is not routine. The allegations invoked hawala operations, crypto linked laundering, drug network financing, and possible terror funding pathways are not matters any government raises lightly. The willingness to submit intelligence findings in a sealed cover further reinforces that the administration believes the threat is real and significant. And historically, the Supreme Court accepts sealed cover submission only when an issue genuinely involves national security or confidential intelligence inputs. If the court decides to act on this affidavit with full seriousness, the future course of the hearing will become far more challenging for the gaming sector. What was once a debate about skill versus chance could transform into a judicial inquiry into criminal networks, cross border money flows, cybersecurity vulnerabilities, and threats to the economic sovereignty of the nation. This transition alone marks one of the most dramatic shifts in any ongoing legal dispute involving a digital industry. The entire country is now watching to see how the Supreme Court responds, whether it treats these claims as credible red flags or demands further investigation, and whether it moves the matter up for immediate hearing. The coming weeks are poised to be decisive. A judgment or even an observation from the Supreme Court could determine the fate of the real money gaming sector and shape India's broader approach to digital financial safety, organized cybercrime, and national security linked regulation in the digital age. Let me know through comments that what is your opinion on this issue. Thanks for watching.